Ka nui te mihi ki a koutou, kia ora, good afternoon everyone. Before I begin, can I just thank RNZ for the opportunity to come and talk with you today. I spend a lot of my time in meetings with good mayors up and down this country, and it's a great opportunity to come and be able to talk with you all here at once. Thank you to RNZ for the opportunity, and more importantly, can I say to all and each every one of you, thank you for what you do. Thank you for entering into the public square and offering public service to the communities that you serve. I'd also like to acknowledge Simeon Brown. As you know, Simeon is responsible for local government and he has an ambitious reform program. He has accomplished a lot, I think, in a very short period of time. And so thank you, Simeon, for all of your leadership and all of your hard work as well. Now, I've been told I have only 10 minutes to talk to you today, so you'll have to forgive me for speaking very plainly and very directly. And frankly, the tough times that New Zealand finds itself in actually demands that I do so. And so New Zealand is facing big infrastructure challenges: water, transport, resilience. And each of these will be absolutely critical for us to get right. And as you know, we have communities and we need to make sure the communities have the tools to sustainably finance that necessary investment. So we're making changes. Through changes agreed through the LGFA, we're alleviating pressure on council debt caps, which will relieve a lot of pressure on fast-growing councils. We're presenting a suite of options for achieving local water reform that will satisfy ratings agencies' concerns while also maintaining local control of water assets. And we're also taking a hard look at a range of rules and regulations that frankly incur costs that then central government directly loads onto councils. And let's be honest, regional councils do exactly the same things to district councils too. But traffic management, for example, is a very good example of an area that we know desperately needs change. And Simeon Brown will also talk shortly in the coming months about our detail on our framework for regional and city deals, an idea that we proposed some years ago in opposition. How they'll work, what we want to enable for the communities, and most importantly, what we expect in return. So we're doing our part, and I put the challenge that I think it's time for local government to do theirs. Ratepayers expect local government to do the basics and to do the basics brilliantly. Pick up the rubbish, fix the pipes, fill in the potholes, and more generally, maintain the local assets quickly, carefully, and cost-effectively. But nothing in life is free, and ratepayers therefore expect to pay for it in exchange. But let me be blunt, what they don't expect to pay for is a laundry list of distractions and experiments that are plaguing council balance sheets across the country. I think the building that we're in today is a classic example, with pipes bursting, and quite literally this morning, pipes bursting in the streets not far from here, and other infrastructure under pressure. Wellington City Council decided to spend $180 million of ratepayers' money on a convention centre, which according to public reporting is now losing money. And it looks very nice and it's great, and it's very nice for us politicians to have a wonderful space to make some great speeches in. But can anyone seriously say that was the right financial decision or the highest possible priority for Wellington, given all of its challenges? Ratepayers, I'd put it to you, are sick of white elephants and they're sick of non-delivery. And so my challenge to all of us is to rein in the fantasies and to get back to delivering the basics brilliantly. Now, councillors often tell me, Councillors often tell me that they agree with all of that, but there's a problem. They just need more help from central government, usually in the form of cold, hard cash. And I have to be honest with you, the previous government might have taken that approach, but that party is over. And there is no magic money tree sitting here in Wellington, thanks to the previous government's economic mismanagement and vandalism. And frankly, shifting your costs onto taxpayers doesn't save anyone any money. It means that ratepayers pay more tax and they're left with less of their own money to meet the cost of a slightly smaller rates bill. Or it means that we spend less on health and education so that councils can avoid tightening their belts, exactly as Kiwi families, businesses and central government have had to do across New Zealand. So yes, I'm sure that will be very popular amongst councillors who want to spend money without raising rates to pay for it. But if any of you think that those will be the terms of a regional deal, it's time for us all to come back to reality. We do want to work closer together, and there will be new revenue tools for councils where that makes sense, but the days of handouts are over. And I know that many councils in the room already well understand that new operating environment, and they are taking their responsibility to ratepayers very seriously. And I want to say thank you for those efforts, because your unrelenting focus on delivering value for money is making a real difference in your communities. And finally, if there was any doubt about our commitment to getting local government back to basics, I have some announcements to make on our local government work programme. And the first is that Cabinet has agreed to streamline the purpose provisions in the Local Government Act to get councils back to basics. For councils, that means abolishing the 4 wellbeing provisions in legislation and restoring the focus on local service and local infrastructure. For ratepayers, it's simple. The central government focuses on must-haves, not nice-to-haves, and we expect local government to do exactly the same. Second, Cabinet has agreed to investigate performance benchmarks for local councils, similar to the approach that some Australian states apply for their local authorities. And in theory, the Local Government Act establishes the accountability of local authorities to the communities that they serve. But in reality, it's difficult to get consistent, easily accessible and comparable information about how councils are actually performing. The performance measures we're looking to introduce are in areas that councils should already be monitoring closely, such as financial performance and, importantly, customer service delivery. But sunlight is the best disinfectant that ratepayers deserve to know exactly what they're getting for their rates. And third, Cabinet has agreed to investigate options to limit council expenditure on so-called nice-to-haves. In some Australian states, you'll be aware, revenue caps are actually applied to non-core activities to control rate increases. We're interested in how a similar approach may work here in New Zealand, ensuring the right balance between ratepayers' interests and councils' financial positions. And yes, councils need adequate revenue to fund core responsibilities like roads and rubbish and water, but the value for money proposition is more questionable in a range of other areas. Councils need to examine those areas more closely, and I'm up for any tool like revenue capping that makes them do so. Fourthly, Cabinet has agreed to review the transparency and accountability rules that apply to councils. It's unacceptable that the rules as they stand today allow unelected officials, in many cases, to prevent elected members from accessing the information that they need to represent their communities, and we'll review those settings. There have been too many absurd scenarios in which ratepayers are effectively shut out of decision-making because elected members' rights to access information are treated as a secondary consideration, and my expectation is that we'll find a way to end those practices. So in conclusion, we do want a productive and constructive relationship with local government, one that enables your growth and development and gives you the tools that you need to pay for it. But we expect that you will spend ratepayers' money responsibly. In short, localism and devolution comes with both rights and also responsibilities. In central government, we're getting on with the job. We're stopping the wasteful spending. We're shifting money from the back office and the bureaucracy to the front line. We're setting clear delivery targets and expectations to hold ourselves accountable to. We're prioritising what to do and what not to do, and we're letting Kiwis keep more of their own money and what they earn. And my parting message is, I think it's time for us all to work together on that agenda. Go line by line, stop the wasteful spending, remove the bureaucracy, focus on customer service, end the projects that aren't delivering value for money. Ratepayers don't expect much, but they want the basics done brilliantly. And what I say is we'll play our part. I hope you will play yours. And I'm confident that by working together, we can actually achieve a lot for New Zealanders: better infrastructure, much better infrastructure, and more resilient communities, all at an affordable price for ratepayers. Thank you very much.